Welcome back, guys. All right, so I promised an updated deck profile for the Super Heavies, and now I finally got one built up the way I kind of like it. I have a few changes compared to what you've seen on other people, which makes this at least worth to watch for that matter. I've been playing Super Heavy Samurai since I even heard about the archetype, and I love him. I was a fan of the Great Shogun, even though he was a bad card back in the day. I learned a lot about the trolliness and the really cool effects that this deck has that make it unique. I don't like playing meta. In case you don't know anything about me, I don't like meta. I do like playing. Decks that have really good potential as long as we keep getting the cards that we need. However, they're never full-blown going to be ran like, okay, there's 6 other people here playing this deck. I really like those kind of decks. That's why I've played decks like Chaos Drags in a time that wasn't used for them. I liked playing Dragunities before the Ruler build came out, or before while E-Dragons were still running rampant. I played Utopia when I got fed up with E-Drags basically, and they started jumping in. So it's been fun, and I really like this game. I really like the way it's set up right now. Let me get into my new deck profile here about my Super Heavy Samurais, because they are the best deck that I have ever played. I love them for every aspect that they are, including the new support. Let's jump into this. Right off the bat, we're going to run 3 of the Big Benkai. Big Benkai, he's the 3500 beater. He lets all the Super Heavy Samurais attack using their defense points for defense calculation. He's 3500. He changes himself to defense position. He's a boss. You run 3 of him. You don't run 2, you run 3. Okay? He's not a bad draw. He's not a good draw, but he's not the worst draw. Okay? He's a very good card to have. There's so many ways to bring him out that I can count, but to me it's countless. The next card is the 3 Blue Brawler. Blue Brawler is a stall card. He is just another generic. He's just a generic Super Heavy Samurai that can't be destroyed by battle. He's a level 4, making him very useful as a target for scales if you need to. I used to run machine duplication so that I could just bring all 3 of these guys out and have access to the rank 4 play. However, nowadays, with the new stuff, you can't run spells basically. So, oh well. Now we've got triple of the Scales. Scales is by far probably one of the most crucial monsters in the deck right now. I would say even more so than Big Benkai at this point, because of his ability to bring out the synchro monsters that this deck is now almost completely oriented around. However, I still run a very strong rank 4 lineup, because I do believe that while the synchros are solid, it's the rank 4s that are going to win the game for you in this particular day and age. Scales is awesome. He's a Cyber Dragon, and he's a Wolf Bark if you don't know these things. Flutist is by far the freaking craziest support card that we received. He can be tributed to special summon Big Benkai from hand. He can be tributed to special summon any Super Heavy Samurai from hand. He also has the effect where if a Super Heavy Samurai would be targeted, you can banish him from the graveyard, negate and destroy whatever card tried to destroy your Super Heavy Samurai. Super awesome card. Anyways, let's go into another one of the new ones. This is the Trumpeteer. This is the tuner monster for the deck that we have right now, or the main, I guess you should say. We do run Valor. He's not bad at 3 at all. Scales, pulling him from graveyard is your level 6 synchros. The whole combination, I'm referring to Meikai 88, that involves using the Soul Piercer, a Flutist, and using the Flutist to special summon the Scales to search because of the Soul Piercer effect, is one way that you would see yourself finding him as only a super heavy tuner. Drawing into him is not bad at any time. It's never bad. Especially if you're sitting on a Blue Brawler, you can go into 6 really easily too. That doesn't have to be super heavy until we get the Super Heavy Samurai level 6, which is a badass monster too. So 3 at all times, and this lineup probably won't change. We run 3 of the Soulfire suits because monster protection, because you want to get your big guy on board, your big guys on board. They're all super heavy, by the way. And this card can prevent destruction. While he does have a primary effect, it's not as good as a secondary effect. The next card is the Search card. He's a floater card. If you use the combination I was just talking about, if you don't know that combination, look up his video. Shout out to you, Maykite. and watch it, because he does show you a really easy couple card combination. Maybe I'll show it to you. I don't know yet. But it's really easy to get the Susanoo out in play. But he can use this effect more than once per turn to search cards. To search for cards that you may or may not need the following turn. He's a really good card. Now we're going to get out of the super heavies and we're going to go to the other monsters. 3 Crash Rat. This guy can be used to not only bring out Big Benkai, but you know what? That's why I still run 3. You can use these guys straight to get into the big guy, or you can use these guys to bring out other stuff. For instance, Scales, get into a rank 4 play, and there you go. The next one is one-ofs. We've got a Machina Fortress. Used to run 2. Nowadays with this deck build, you don't run 2, you just run the 1, and you're pretty much good to go at that point. He's really good. I use him more as a threat, not so much as an attacking monster. You have a Redox, because Redox is Monster Reborn for this entire deck, and he's a 3,000 wall. You run G-Nex Ally Birdman. He's one of the few non-Earth monsters in the deck, but he's a tuner, and he is awesome as a machine. He can get you into a lot of the oddball combinations that you find yourself getting yourself into. There's double Valor involved in this deck because effect negation. There's a lot of effect negation. And he's a 1-star tuner. Let's not forget this. He can be used in combination with cards such as Machina Fortress to bring out a level 8 Synchro. So this is a very versatile card too. Do not think that he's just there as effect negation. We have double Trag instead of double Gores. This is one pairing that I'm still kind of debating whether or not I like or not. It seems like his effect isn't as great because everybody exceeds summons, but the way synchros are coming back right now, I feel like he may even be more versatile than Gores. And plus, I mean, he gets a lot of attack points really quickly. If somebody decides to let you drop a Max C on them and they're like, "No, I don't care, I'm just going to do this," and then you drop Gores on them and you're just like, "Oh crap, I should not have let you draw 4 more cards." Now I have whatever I had plus 2,400 attack. It's a really trolly card, and I like it in this deck. I do. I honestly do. The next card up is the Max C's that, like I was just saying, you got to run 3 of because there's no real draw power in this deck without it. While there is a search card ability, you have the Gear Gang and X search. Max C's just make it a little bit faster, while consistency seems to be 2 steps behind a full-blown meta deck. This card helps kind of speed it up, and you have a little bit more competition. I run double Swift Scarecrow in this deck, not the Train card. I'm not familiar with the Train card. I did pay attention to one person's video, and he was pretty adamant about not running the Train card. But this is what I had originally. It was a side deck card originally, but now he's more of a main deck card because I don't run the spells and trap cards for protection anymore, and I do see him as a very good card to have, when needed. I feel like you don't necessarily want to have to use this card, obviously. The next one are the double Skill Prisoners because they can banish themselves out of the graveyard and they stop targeting effects, so you can use it on either player's turn, and you can use it whenever you want to. And it's Trollsy. It's kind of a flutist trap card, whatever. And then triple Breakthrough Skill because effect negation, because Winda, because Dante, because whatever. Breakthrough Skill is always good, especially in a very effect-oriented time of day. All right, so let's put this to the side. Let's talk about the extra deck. The extra deck involves 1 Gear Gigant X. Gear Gigant X is a good searcher, but I don't need 2 of him. I like to run a lot of rank 4 deck plays because I believe, like I said earlier, while synchroing into the big guys and having access to big guys is a thing, I think that these techie level rank 4 monsters are the ones that are really going to win the game for you. So having the access to anyone that you need at the time seems more viable than, well, I have 2 Gear Gigant X's, I have, double Cowboy that I could pull off if I had the right stuff. No, I'd rather just, oh gosh, maybe next turn he'll go off, but I'm just going to Excite and Knight this field and just blow the whole fucking thing up. I like rank 4s. I play the Dark Rebellion Xyz Dragon. He's really good. It's just as a power beater. He's just basically a generic with a lot of attack points, and that's why I like him. Silent Honor Arc because shit-alls. That's pretty much it. You Silent Honor Arc, you've got yourself into a pretty decent spot at that point. Castell, really good card too. Once again, it's all about what you need. So far, I've got a Search, I've got a Beater, and I've got 2 cards that remove things from play. Or not from play, but 2 cards that remove cards out of viable locations. Exciton Knight because field wipe. You know, this deck may not have a ton of recovery, but if you have a Scales in hand, you have at least a level 6 Synchro or a level 4 rank 4 play. Say you go into the Search card and then you start going off again. Black Ship of Corn, just for the random off chance you find yourself against hands, Black Ship of Corn is pretty cool to have. Gaga Cowboy because 800 burn. That's about it. At one point I was running double Gaga Cowboy for 1600 points. And trying to just pull it off, but the fact is we don't have machine duplication anymore in this deck, and until Super Heavies somehow get some miracle card that we can banish all spells and trap cards from our graveyard to special summon something or do something crazy like that, he's just going to stay at 1 for now. And then I have the random level 8 or rank 8 Divine Dragon Knight Felgrand. He's a boss. He's a really good late game, like catch you off guard kind of card. You know, nobody expects you to exceed with your big Benkais, but it can happen. And this is why. So you wipe their whole board, you know, and they're like, okay, cool, next turn I'll just, you know, Tour Guide into Scarman Dante. You're just like, no, I think what I'm going to do at the end of this turn, because I'm pretty sure I got game next turn, is Felgrand. And they're like, oh, you've got to be kidding me right now. So now you don't even need the Effect Veilers or the Breakthrough skills that you could possibly have in hand at that point. You've got a freaking Felgrand on board, and it's going to be really hard for this person to get around him. So the rest of these are Synchros. Armades because he just stops quite a bit right now. I don't run Goyo. I run the Barkion because he's really good mid and late game as just kind of a stopper. Like, you know, if you're running somebody that doesn't play a lot of traps, Burning Abyss players like to run, you know, Fire Lake and all that stuff or whatever. But as long as you've dropped him late, which is usually what it takes, because you're usually going to get Susanoo out first. You'll have the tuner in graveyard, so you get Scales, you'll search the tuner, and then you bring out Barkion. He's a really good card to have because, you know, you can shut down a lot of things. I mean, not only do you have a guy that's stealing spells and trap cards from your opponent's graveyard, but you're also being able to negate them. That puts a really big threat on board. Play the Black Rose because we have Birdman and he's easy to get into. Stardust Dragon because he's Stardust Dragon. Mistworm because he's Mistworm, and double of the MVPs, Susanoo. Awesome synchro monster, by the way. Well done, Konami, for giving us this. This card can attack while in face-up defense position. If it does, this card can attack while in face-up defense position. If it does, apply its defense for damage calculation once per turn during either player's turn. If you have no spell and trap cards in your graveyard, you can target one spell or trap card in your opponent's graveyard, set it to your side of the field, but banish it when it leaves the field. So, playing a Shaddoll player, they go Shaddoll Fusion, say okay. I'm going to activate my effect after that so that I can take that Shaddoll Fusion back out of that graveyard. Then it doesn't even matter. You don't play your back row at all. You can fill it up with every freaking Shaddoll Fusion card they have, and then eventually they're like, oh, well, now what? You know? And then if they do decide, oh, I'm going to try to MST and get it back, and I'm sorry, buddy, but it's banished. You're not getting it back. Awesome. If you say playing Burning Abyss, and they drop Raigeki. Oh, okay. No problem. Let me get Susanoo on board. Let me steal that Raigeki, and let me just friggin' bring it right back to you, because that's how this deck works out so well. Tell me what you think, guys. Comment, rate, subscribe. If you don't know me, if you do know me, at least comment and rate. I do really like this deck. While it's very similar to others, it's not, because there's, like I said, I run triple Big Benkai. You have triple Flutist. You have triple Rat. Mine as well. I only run one Machina Fortress because he's only needed at 1. I mean, you could run 2, I guess, but then you're kind of cutting yourself down a little bit with the abilities. You gotta run the breakthrough skills and the skill prisoners because they can banish themselves and get their effects off more than once. And I mean, while the deck is slow, and I know I should use I mean, I would when and if I get my hands on a Goyo, there's a good chance I'm gonna put it into the deck, into the extra deck. So do not think that I not run Goyo because I don't want to. It's more or less I don't have it. So Goyo is a very good card. As for the side deck, which I don't have for you guys today, it's a lot of weird stuff. We're talking electric viruses. We're talking concentrated lights. Just monsters that are Kokimiro Drago. Just that kind of stuff. Look for those kind of weird, gimmicky monsters that had those crazy effects that did something that would be effective against one thing, but maybe not so much another thing. Because those are the deck cards, the tech cards that you're going to play in. How about Grand Mole? Grand Mole's a great card to throw in here into the X side deck. Maybe even consider, dropping in Monarchs or something. Who knows? Who knows? You could probably sign in a Treeborn Frog or something like that and just playing Monarchs too with it, and that'll really annoy somebody, right? Anyways, comment, rate, subscribe. Let me hear what you got to say, and peace.